Hi, welcome back. This is the second video in the three-part series of creating influence. In my last video, I spoke about how to establish influence. The first was to be as genuine as possible. Second is share your story. Third is create a unique position for yourself. And fourth is to care about things your audience cares about. Now, thank you for all the comments and the feedback for my first video. Many of you downloaded the action guide and have already seen results. As promised, this video is about to be how you can amplify your influence using email. I work with email subscriber clients. I always see that they repeat the same mistakes time and again. You're passionate about your blog, you write good content, you send emails, and you also try social media promotions. But the results are far less than expected. You don't get comments on your blog posts, no replies to your emails, and no social media shares. And even if there are, it's not as good as expected. In this training, we will study the different elements of emails, how your audience perceives them, and how you can use the art of influence to make them take action on your emails. But before I get into the tactics, let me tell you a few triggers that work with influence. The first trigger is reciprocity. Now, you must have heard about give before you get. And you also know that your audience cares about what is important for them, not what is important to you. Giving also creates a foundation of trust and authority. The second trigger is authenticity. Readers want to see the real you. They want to connect with the actual person that you are. So show them the real you. The next trigger is consistency. You need to be consistent with your brand. The more you are consistent, the more will they recall you. The next trigger is authority. Now, before you show people the path, they need to believe in you. Telling them about your track records, your achievements is a great way of building authority. The last but not the least, the best trigger, that is scarcity. It is must for call to actions. Now, these were the triggers, and now I'll show you how to put them to use. I've created a detailed mind map for you. So let us check it out. Look, your subscribers are getting a ton of emails every day. Chances are they're not opening your emails. Now consider the top influencers face the same problem. But what do? They use a good subject line and a perfect sender name. Most of us decide whether to read an email or not by looking at two factors: who sent it and what's it about. So it's important to give attention to both subject and sender. For the sender name, make sure you have your full name and your brand as the sender. For example, Andrea Julio Ice Cream. Also, don't use Gmail or webmail emails. Use an email address that's your name @yourbrand.com. That looks both personal and conveys authority. Now, subject lines are critical. They set the tone for your entire email. If you search online, you will get plenty of resources to write subject lines that increase open rates. Here are some of my favorite strategies. Write something that piques interest and curiosity, like a question or something unusual. Add an emoji. The latest tip is to begin with an emoji. Begin with RE ... That makes the email feel like a part of a conversation. Similarly, if you add the reader's name in the subject, it will get their attention. For blog post notification, the blog headline may actually make a very good email subject line. You may even want to find some swipe files, collection of email subject lines that have worked for others. Last, create 3 different subject lines using whatever strategy you like. Then pick the one you think will work best. Look, if testing subject line styles sounds like much work, don't worry. Try with something simple and keep experimenting to see what gets you best results. Moving on, make your reader open your email in just one step. Your email needs to be compelling enough for them to take action. A major portion on how compelling your email is the way it looks, how appealing it looks. A simple way of making your emails look great is choosing a beautiful layout, something which looks clean and uncluttered. Now, your layout and design will depend on the content and the purpose of the email. For simple announcements or quick updates, it is wise to use a simple plain text email. For blog post notifications, use a more graphical, centered layout. Including an image and prominent headline will draw readers' attention. Don't forget to have a clear and visible call to action. Newsletters work well with graphical centered layouts. Make sure different sections of the newsletter are marked clearly. Support content with image as appropriate, but make sure the images that you use are a mix of personal images as well as stock images. Next, promotional emails. They need to be a mix of graphical and urgency-invoking content. So make sure you have good images of your products on discount within the email. Also have a scarcity-driven call to action. Now that we have the layout sorted, let's talk design. There are different elements that go into making a good design. The colors, fonts, text sizes, your logo, your avatar, the kind of images you use. What's important about design is that it has to be consistent with your branding on your website and everywhere else. So my punch list of best strategies for design is, like I already mentioned, be consistent. Add your logo in the header, your avatar photo in the footer. Use simple fonts. If you need something fancy, use images. Use your brand colors for headlines or call to actions. Now let's get to the core of the email, the content. As mentioned in my last video, stories work. And starting your email with a story can actually draw your audience into reading further. Now, few strategies that work best with email content are: use shorter sentences, break your content down in smaller paragraphs, break monotony by adding an image between the content, use bullets wherever relevant, always have a clear call to action. By the way, try to limit your call to action to just two, one primary and the next secondary. Also make sure your primary call to action is a button and the secondary one is a link. After content, the next important thing is the footer. You need to utilize this space for two things. First, to include an unsubscribe link to your email. This is very important. You need to give your subscriber an option to leave your list. Doing this will ensure that a subscriber is actually interested in receiving your next email or not. Next, as spoken earlier, establish authority. Display all the ways your reader can reach out to you. That's your social media accounts, your physical address, etc. An additional tip, if you have a big number of followers, add a liner mentioning that in your footer. It will build credibility about your brand in the minds of your readers.
So that's it. I know it is a lot, but you know it is important. These were the best strategies to increase your influence using email. My suggestion is to not get overwhelmed and pick one strategy and use it in your next email. To make things simpler, you can download the mind map along with some strategies right below this video. In my experience, the one thing that is really difficult is to get the email design right. Whether to do HTML or text, whether your email will look good in the email client or whether it will be marked as spam. There are tons of problems when it comes to email sending. On the other hand, designs and layout look good on paper. In reality, it may take a lot of time and may actually cost you a bomb. So how about a simple solution? I'm working on something big to solve all your problems. So look forward for my next email and don't forget to comment below.